artists where we're poor at surviving calamities, but mostly we're poor at making art. My name's Benj.
And I'm Isaac. And this week we have taken inspiration from our dearly beloved pastor. That's what pastors usually say at weddings.
Yep, that's
but we
true.
dearly beloved him.
Or funerals.
Nobody died or was married, but we still decided to take inspiration from him this week, and we are going to draw the god of calamity.
Mm-hmm.
Calamity being just the god of all badness, bad things that happen to everyone.
Yep. So that's what we're gonna draw.
Yep.
It's gonna
be bad.
we get to see what Isaac schemed up in his mind.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he doesn't steal my idea. And I have, because then that means I had to come up with something new.
I had an idea, and now I'm desperately trying to remember that idea. I've been thinking about this, but God of Calamity. All right, here we go.
Yeah, it's titles like this that made us first start drawing based off of our sermon titles.
Yeah, because they're just so strange and so out there. Like, they make sense in context when you hear the sermon, but out of context, they mean something completely different.
I feel like sermon titles were the first version of clickbait that existed in our world.
You know, you're probably right.
Like, they would put on the front of the church, their clickbait sermon title to try to get people to come to the church. Like, sinners in the hands of an angry God.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh man, I gotta go see that sermon. Is this some sort of cyclops?
There's two eyes, you have to assume. Oh dear.
But do we assume that?
Oh, it's super creepy looking.
It's like,
it wasn't meant to be so creepy looking, I'll be honest.
This wasn't meant to be like an alien or cyclops or something.
It's definitely not from Earth. We'll just leave it. We'll leave it there. It doesn't really have a nose. I think that's what's throwing it off.
Not really. Not a full nose, like a Voldemort nose.
It's either tucked back behind the other side of his head, or I don't even know. But that's what we got.
How do you tuck your nose behind your head?
It's not pretty. It is not pretty.
This is one of those guys that has a good side and a bad side, and we're looking at the bad side.
Yeah, people say that all the time, and you're like, I don't understand what you mean by that. Now you do.
Is that his neck? I thought he was wearing a V-neck collar that was
Well, the thing is, I was going for a V-neck, but then I realized
it was turned the other way,
sideways.
Yeah, I thought he just had a V-neck shoulder.
We're gonna try to redeem this.
Okay,
it doesn't actually look that bad now.
If you say so.
I do.
He's wearing a really long shirt, or he has really short arms compared to his body.
On his planet, they wear really long shirts. Man, his head is creepy. I'm covering it up with my thumb just to try to see if the rest of it looks okay.
If you just think of it as a cyclops, it's a pretty
There's something
good
about his, I don't know if it's the way I put the hand or something, but he kind of looks like his head is on backwards. Sort of, at least to me.
I don't think it's the hand. I think it's the fact that you drew the stomach more like a back.
That was supposed to be another chin.
What we're looking at now was supposed to be a chin. This Nigel Thornberry face.
No, there. See? It looks great. He's got a more handsome son than himself.
What, more handsome? So clearly also a Cyclops.
Well, okay, fine.
With a flat head.
He looks up to his dad, literally, and oh, he has an ear too.
He looks like the same. He's such
like father, like son. Like, let's just.
And is that the beak thing like a mouth, or is that the nose?
That's his chin.
Oh, that's the chin.
That's the mouth.
Then why is there
he has a nose
coming out of the chin?
It's shadowing.
Oh,
you wouldn't understand. He really looks up to his dad. Just get that.
What? Oh, that's the arm.
Somehow it looks worse when I didn't mess up the neck there. Like, I was like, oh, I'm going to fix the neck so it doesn't, it looks worse. He gets his arm and his nose from his mom.
Who is somehow uglier than the dad.
They're just super ugly, aren't they? I wasn't really going for that.
Like, I feel like somehow you've gotten worse at drawing recently.
No, I think I just make questionable decisions and run with it. Like, you always draw basically the same looking kind of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you showed, like, someone, like, 10 of my people, there's no way they'd think they were drawn by the same person.
Yep, that's true.
Just 10 really bad different people.
But I feel like if you showed them in progression, they would think it was either drawn by different people or it was drawn by one person who was mentally deteriorating.
It might be true. Okay, so he's talking to his son. His son has asked him something. And,
like, have you ever seen those videos where, like, somebody who's, like, took a bunch of drugs, like, draws a self-portrait over the course of, like, the night? That's kind of how your drawings are.
Hey, I don't know what that means. I think that's a good thing.
Okay.
Because you've seen their art. It's famous. It's online. Just like ours.
Yes. It definitely entertains people. Which is the point.
Thank you. So he's telling his son. Let's see.
They're both imagining the same thing.
Well, he's telling him about it, so they're both...
Must be a pretty good storyteller to get somebody to imagine the exact same thing.
He's telling him the story of the god of Calamity.
Okay. So the Calamity is that he made these creatures.
Clearly. Clearly on their world, that's all they know.
They are self-aware enough to know that they're a calamity.
Now what does the god of Calamity look like? Probably just like them.
Well,
made in their own
made in his image, right?
He's just gonna be like a more exaggerated version, I imagine, I guess. Let's see. More exaggerated version. He's the god of Calamity, so you can start with the eye.
Mm-hmm.
That's a chin.
Oh, I see. Neck is so long.
Yeah, like I said, it gets longer, and there's a V-neck. He has a sleeve too.
Oh.
And his hair is similar. But like
longer.
Worse. beautiful. And on the 6th day, he made.
So, like, are these creatures just called, like, calamities? Or, like, is their planet called Calamity?
Yeah, they are Calamity.
Or do they understand that they are a horrific mistake?
I don't think that they think of the word calamity like we do.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a good thing to them. The more horrible look, like they can acknowledge that it's horrible looking.
Right.
Like it's terrible how they look and how everything in their world is. But like there's a sense of admiration for it.
Right. So it's kind of like a bizarro world.
Yeah.
Where it's like everything that is horrible is seen as good.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Mm-hmm. Bringing up a painful memory that I don't really like to think about very much. How do you spell Ong? The avatar.
I think it was spelled the same.
I know, that's the problem. Ong. Duh. Avatar.
See, like, I understand pronouncing the name Ain wrong, but avatar is just an English word.
It's true. If you don't know what we're talking about, by the way, count yourself blessed.
Lucky you.
Very blessed. Because we can both agree that, like, the greatest show ever made was Avatar: The Last Airbender. And when we were kids, this show came out in, like, what? Oh, gosh. It's so old now. I think we said it was, like, 17 years old this year or something like that.
Something like that.
It's
older
than we thought it was.
I thought, yeah.
But it ended in 2008, I think. Mm-hmm. But it is the greatest.
I know it ended the same year The Dark Knight came out.
Yeah, which I think was 2008.
That was one of the best days because we watched a finale of
The
Last Airbender and we watched Dark Knight in theaters.
Yeah,
on the same day.
But honestly, I was more excited for the finale of Avatar: The Last Airbender because it is not only the greatest Nickelodeon show ever made and the greatest cartoon ever made. It is my favorite show ever made. Like even to this day.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the top for sure. Like the only ones I even put with it are like other superhero shows like the Justice League and Superman Batman show. Things like that.
But then they made the movie. And it was a disgrace. It was absolutely, and it's like sad because I'll meet people, like our pastor, for example, who's never seen this show, and all he knows of this like story and world is from this horrific movie. It like tried to shove like an entire season into one 2-hour movie, but not even that.
That's not even why it was bad.
They literally took the comic relief character and like made him like depressed and moody and no humor whatsoever in the entire movie.
Yeah.
And then they took the main character, Aang the Avatar, and just like for no reason changed it to Ong the Avatar. And you're like, oh my gosh. This show is all about, by the way, like people, a world where people can like, there's 4 nations based on the 4 elements, earth, wind, fire, and water. And they have a chance of being like born, being able to control one of these elements, right?
Right.
And you've got the evil fire nation who attacks the other countries and whatnot. But then you have the Avatar who can control all 4 elements. And like, so there's people who can control the elements. In the movie, it's like super cool. In the show, oh gosh, I almost made a big mistake there. In this show, that's really cool because they have like great battles with using the throwing rocks and fire. In the movie, there's a scene that we always make fun of where it takes like 6 guys to move like a pebble. And you're like, whoa, even the cool like battle scenes are so bad.
Yeah. And like the biggest thing is that so many of the characters were just done poorly. Like you mentioned that Sokka, the comic relief, was just like not even like he didn't make a single joke the whole time. But also like Aang, Like the whole point of his character is that he's like loud and like he acts like a kid, and when he bears like the responsibility of saving the world, he does it with like a smile and a joke.
Yeah.
Like he cares more about making people laugh than anything else. But then like in the movie, it was like he was like the moody, like brooding hero. And it's just like, I mean, there's just like so much of it was just so much worse. Like, obviously, we expected to go in and it to be a full season in one movie.
Yeah, like
and
we
they had to
expected
cut
that,
out a
but that's
bunch of
not
stuff.
even.
But that's not why it was bad.
No, it was so much worse than we ever could have imagined.
And just like the dialogue, like everything about it just wasn't well done. Like,
no,
it wasn't
and we
cool.
had so many hopes for this movie.
Yep, it was not what anybody was hoping it to be. It truly was a calamity.
Like, we don't even like to talk about it. This is the most we've talked about it, I think, since we saw it.
Like it's hard to even put into words
how bad it was
because I've never tried.
I know, right? Like, it just takes everything that we loved about the greatest show we'd ever seen and ruined every single part of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even a joke that
Like,
we found there are movies that we've watched, like the Green Lantern movie was terrible.
Yeah.
But it had some redeeming features
like
to
the
it.
first half of that movie was fine.
Yeah.
You know,
there are
like,
many
him-
terrible movies where
him,
it's like
becoming and training as a Green Lantern was fine. The CGI was bad. The whole second half was bad. But like there was redeemable parts.
yes, but
Nothing in the Last Airbender.
Like, I kid you not. We walked out of the like when we went to the theater back when they had like real midnight premieres. There was like people dressed up, and like we bought special shirts with the different elements on them. And we were
everybody there was so excited.
So
like,
excited.
We went like an hour early, and you didn't have to.
No,
but like we all went early and just like hung out with all the other fans. Like it was like going to a like Comic-Con or something
just for Avatar: The Last Airbender. And then everyone left the theater like the mood was completely different. They were just so I've never in all my life, I think, felt just such disappointments in a room. like everybody.
Like, have you ever been to one of the recent like Avengers movies? You know, especially like the Spider-Man, and there's just like scenes where like everybody just starts clapping.
Yeah,
this was like the opposite. Just like everybody in the theater
you could feel
audibly like gasped at the horror.
Like the first time they're like
they said all the
Avatar, and everyone was like, "What? Why?" Oh, and they messed with firemen. Like, they literally... And it's funny, because the guy who directed it, M. Night Shyamalan, he's like the guy who did Signs and The Sixth Sense. He claimed to be like a huge fan of the show. Like, he said his kid watched it, and it sounded like he really knew what he was doing, and he purposely, like, wanted to make this movie. And then he just destroyed it. I still haven't forgiven him. I haven't forgiven him because he gave us so much hope, and then just ruined it. Like I don't even think I've been able to enjoy his other movies because I'm just like, oh, he made it. Oh, that guy who ruined our entire lives.
Yeah,
really rough.
Really a god of calamity.
God of calamity move. That would be the first thing he would have done. Although somehow this is the sixth thing this guy did. Who knows?
Well, I mean, it's like the build-up. Like how mankind was the greatest of his creation. There was like the build-up. Like, he made some other bad choices.
This is like the epitome of like, he had to build everything else. It was leading up to the ultimate calamity. And it was bad.
Yes.
Now I can't wait to see what calamity you come up with. It won't be worse than this.
Oh, we'll see.
Like, there have been some pretty bad movies out there over the years that we've watched, but none so bad as that.
Yep. Very true. Like, I mean, at least none more disappointing.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we've watched worse movies, but like
Robot Overlords?
Yeah, like Robot Overlords, or like the small amount of Birdemic we watched.
Birdemic can't even be called a real movie, can it?
But yet it is.
It's like,
so I'm just saying, like, those movies are technically worse, but we expected them to be
nothing
bad.
That I like loathe quite as much.
Yeah, I mean, because you just can't.
No, like,
there's
going from the best show ever and all the hype. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in case you can't tell, we don't recommend that movie, but we highly recommend Avatar: The Last Airbender, the show. Is it still on Netflix? It probably is. Or did it like all move to Paramount Plus?
I don't know.
I'll look it up for all of you good people.
I know that it will be on Paramount Plus at some point, at least.
All 3 seasons are on Netflix still. Is that like a face? Like I can almost see like some really thin glasses and some lips that are sticking up in front of them.
I did the grand mistake where you draw the hand first.
Oh, perfect. Especially the amount of wrinkles that arm has.
Yeah, I realized that I'm not using the thickness that I usually do because I didn't change it from when you did it.
Yep. The thicker the pen, the more mistakes it does hide.
Yes. So the thing is, if I change now...
Are you just going to draw like us? Us drawing? Because that would be appropriate.
That actually is my plan.
Oh, man. I'm sorry I spoiled it. But I saw somebody drawing and I was like, who's the worst drawer I can think of?
It's
us.
It's us.
It's us. There is no one poor.
Whichever one I end up drawing on the right side is going to be thicker.
Or much thicker in more than one way. Like, you added more... Like that? Oh, gosh.
This is just how... This is what we look like.
There's a reason you don't see us. Like, there's no camera involved in this because...
Just be glad I don't use the version of our drawing from the...
Yeah, that is much more disturbing, I'll admit. Although, that arm is like a noodle arm with like a sharp angle at the end.
Oh, so why did I draw a V there?
Where's the body? It's like that's like Wonder Woman's outfit. I have the W across our chest for some reason, except it's a V because we spelled poor artists wrong.
Well, I mean,
it's 100%. Wait, you're literally drawing Wonder Woman.
Well, you're the one that bought the those gauntlet things at the Renaissance Festival.
Those bracers are cool, and they have the Tree of Gondor on them, which I get is maybe I should start wearing them while we draw. Give me like a more of a...
Here, I'll draw a tree on there for you.
Just understand that Benj obviously cannot fully articulate how amazing they are, and nor do I wear them with a Wonder Woman corset on like he's drawing.
Are you sure you don't? I didn't mean to draw that line.
Why are you drawing me? Why are you drawing me in a skinny dress?
Just so hey you are.
Is that my leg? Okay, for the record, when I went to the Renaissance Festival, because we recently, well, you know this because we drew about it, but we went to the Renaissance Festival recently. And yes, I have always wanted some bracers. They go on your arms. And all Benj could say to this amazing purchase of mine.
Buy bracers.
Sure.
You brought whatever Wonder Woman wears.
The guy I bought she wears golden bracelets.
Yeah, that's what you
did not buy bracelets. They are no one can ever confuse these for bracelets. They are much too big.
No, they look the exact size that I just drew.
What the heck is that?
This is how you drew your face in our drawing.
It's much longer. Oh gosh. This is it just looks like I ate something really messy. But no, this outfit is a calamity. I'll admit. Other than the bracers, my bracers look cool, but my arms are also as thick as my waist in this drawing, which couldn't be further from the truth.
Especially that one arm that's just like way thicker.
Also, I have clearly broken my right arm and am writing with my pinky. I've never looked better.
But no, that's not your pinky. See? Like, if you hold out your arm, you're not holding it upside down.
It totally looks like I'm balancing it on like a fancy drawing.
Yeah, and then I gotta do your weird eyebrows.
Why do I look like Tinkerbell?
It's just the way outfit looks.
Are you saying next year for the Renaissance Festival I should go dressed as Tinkerbell?
Oh wait, now I had to decrease and then
yeah,
my drawing even worse.
You can't be thick looking. You're gonna make it look worse than what you drew me in?
Well, not on purpose.
You're wearing a shirt. It's already infinitely better.
Yeah, I'm not gonna draw myself worse on purpose.
If you draw like a mini skirt on you, it might be worse.
And I gotta draw the square glasses.
This is like a strange meeting of the minds. That right there is actually quite disturbing looking. Just leave. No, just stop right there. A tuft of hair and 2 eyes and a nose.
That's all I am. Then you gotta draw the goatee type beard.
This looks like we showed a child a drawing of us.
Mm-hmm.
Like the drawing that we did of ourselves.
Yeah.
And then they tried to draw it, but they accidentally decided to draw me as a princess.
Oh yeah, I was gonna draw the tiara,
or as Wonder Woman.
I forgot to draw the tiara.
Just assume it's tucked away in that hair somewhere.
Oh man. I'm wearing like the diaper like pants that Justin Bieber.
Saggy. Oh man. That looks nothing like you. Like even your drawing, the glasses are so much bigger. If the title of this wasn't Calamity, I feel like it would be.
And we're apparently drawing on some sort of stands.
The music stands that we draw on.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
We should try that sometime. Borrow a couple of music stands from someone and try standing while we draw. It couldn't be worse, could it?
And I'm drawing with my left hand, apparently.
We will have to attempt this one day. We should do a drawing left-handed one day, just to show how much worse it can get.
There's that one time we had Timmy draw with his left hand, and we drew with our right hand, and it was still so much better.
Yeah, we have a friend named Timmy who, like, he's a professional artist, like, illustrates books, and, you know, like, if you ask him to draw something, it'll look exactly like what you asked for, but somehow better than you imagined it. He probably wouldn't call us friends after seeing this, but you drew your G really cool. I'll give you that.
Well,
Gods of Calamity. Just drawing the world into existence. I also need to point out that your one arm clearly has a sleeve, but your other sleeve is just like morphed into your... I question to call it a hand. It's like what a sea lion's hand. Like sort of a flipper. Our hands, the way they are curved up to the paper, worries me. Like
that's why you never draw hand first. I've said it so many times. You always go nose first.
Well, at least you've given me some ideas for the Renaissance Festival next year. I'll be the Princess of Gondor.
Yes, just like Aragon.
He's the king.
Or, I mean, Aragorn.
Aragon. Don't get me started on how bad that movie was.
No, that movie did the book justice.
No, it was terrible.
Yes,
but
it
not
was.
As terrible
as the book.
As the Last Airbender movie. Or your drawing.
Yep.
Well,
this is us drawing calamities into existence
every single week.
Here's the calamity I provide you today.
I would almost say this could be like our new logo, except for how you drew me. It's so bad. It gives people the wrong idea about me.
Well, I mean, it's just a calamity that I provided for our fans.
Is this how you see me?
After the Renaissance Festival.
I bought 2 cool black manly bracers.
No.
Well,
they were literally this size.
They are proper size.
No, see,
the leathersmith assured me they are manly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the guy selling them to you assured you.
He was trying to sell them to me pretty hard.
But
I wanted them.
That's because nobody else would buy them. You should have got like true like gauntlets that like.
Those are more expensive, and these are like proper size.
No.
They're definitely not Wonder Woman size.
They're literally the same size. In fact, Wonder Woman's are probably longer.
Well, Wonder Woman's a cartoon. On that terrible disappointment,
yeah,
I think it's time for us to
leave it off there so Isaac can look up Wonder Woman's bracelets.
It's gonna look cool, especially with my Tinkerbell outfit next year. Goodbye.
Bye.
As always, we're surprised you made it this far into our video.
There's no way we could possibly ask you to subscribe to this atrocity, so we won't.
We would say share it with your friends, but it's probably better for wasting your enemy's time.
We're probably not going to get any better, but we will keep drawing.
See you next time.